Hello, thank you for your interest in getting reading right. We are excited to share with you how reading instruction can be more effective in your school district. I'm Terry Applebaum. I'm a senior program specialist here in the Reading Language Arts Unit in Laco, and this here is my partner.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mara Shin-Smith. I am also a senior program specialist working alongside Terry in the Reading Language Arts unit here at LACO.
So, for us, this journey began a few years ago when a journalist named Emily Hanford published an article called Hard Words: Why Aren't Kids Being Taught to Read? And this article pointed out the fact that we have thousands of students in our schools not reading with proficiency. If you haven't read it yet, please check it out. It's amazing. Emily's work and subsequent articles really prompted us to take a closer look at reading scores in LA County and across the entire state of California. And when we did that, we saw that what Emily reported was happening throughout the nation, was also happening here in the state of California and in Los Angeles County as well. When individual schools pull up their data, it's likely that they see up to half of their students are not reading on grade level. We also discovered that there was a wide range of reading approaches being used by teachers, which is really producing differing results of success in everyone's classrooms. And it became really clear that this is an equity issue. The scores for children of color are terrible overall. So, with all of that in mind, we built this training and we're now finishing our third year delivering it to schools and districts throughout the state to do all that we can to make a difference with student reading. As Emily Hanford stated, this is a problem throughout our nation, not just a California issue. For 30 years, our nation has had 50 to 60% of students not reading with proficiency. So let's take a moment to read this quote by Todd Collins. He's a businessman and school board member in Palo Alto in Northern California. He also founded the California Reading Coalition and the California Report Card. So he has said, we can't measure our instructional success by how well our top students are doing. Instead, we measure our success by how well our least resource students are doing. And that is so true. When we look at this data by student group, it's pretty clear who those least resource kiddos are. This is California CASP data for just third graders from the 2021-2022 school year. So take a look and see what you notice. The issue is there's widely differing results depending on which group of students you take a look at. According to this data, if you're white or Asian, you're doing really well. If you're not in one of those two student groups, you're in trouble. And as educators here at LACO, we felt that there is a need to do something about that. So let's look at this data in a different way and personalize what this data looks like by looking at the students in a classroom. Currently, only 42% of third graders in the state of California are reading proficiently. What that means is that in this class of kindergartners, these students with the pink X's will not grow to be successful readers in their next 3 years of school. And only these students with the green circles will become skilled readers. When we see that staggering statistic, 42% proficient, in terms of actual little faces, it stings. It becomes so real. And as a county office, we're here to support schools and districts as a collective effort to make a change to help all students become skilled readers. So as we talk about developing a literate child, we can all agree that there are many elements that come together to make proficient literacy happen. We can probably agree that all of these factors here on the screen play a part in the puzzle of reading and that they're all important, right? But to be honest, many of these puzzle pieces are not in our control, like literate homes, whether students have been read to since birth, whether students have had varied experiences. So we really need to focus on what we have control of. And that's if students have strong classroom reading instruction, because if they have that, then they will still learn to read even without all of those other puzzle pieces. However, if we remove systematic and explicit tier 1 reading instruction from the puzzle, most children will never learn to read proficiently. It is the one essential factor and the one factor as educators that we actually have control over. So this is the area that we're taking head on with our Getting Reading Right training series.
So the science of reading is 40 plus years of research on the science behind how the brain learns to read. It's an intersection of research from many different disciplines, such as cognitive psychology, linguistics, neuroscience, and education. And this research encourages a structured literacy approach for most efficiently teaching and wiring human brains to read. Now, this approach, it refutes the practices of other commonly used literacy models like balanced literacy and whole language, which we'll talk about more in a minute. And finally, through that structured literacy approach, the science of reading research shows that our students' brains need explicit, systematic instruction in order to teach the reading domains. So the point is, there's an abundance of research that shows what does and doesn't work for reading instruction. But sadly, there is a huge disconnect between the research and the practice, and this information has not been accessible to the classroom teacher in California. It is just now spreading across the state through some grant work and concerted efforts by reading advocates like us here at LACO. So we are excited to partner with your district in this important work. Yay! And it's also important to recognize what the science of reading is not. So it's not a philosophy, it's not a fad or a pendulum swing, as we hear a lot. And this research really has existed for 40 years, and this research is ongoing. It's not a political agenda. It's not a prescribed one-size-fits-all approach. In fact, it gives tools for discerning what each child needs individually for targeted instruction. And it's also not a program. It's a body of research that advocates for a systemic approach to teaching reading. But there's also misconceptions that it is all about phonics. You know, it says drill and kill. And that is simply not true either. And we'll show you why. So the Getting Reading Right training is based on the science of reading and will introduce teachers to structured literacy. So let's take a look at this image here. The basic gist of the difference between balanced literacy and structured literacy is that the premise of balanced literacy is that reading is a natural process, that students just automatically pick it up through osmosis. And the goal is really to get them to love reading through immersing them in books. Structured literacy, on the other hand, is steeped in neuroscience and is based on the premise that reading is not a natural process and is one that requires explicit and systematic instruction, starting with sounds and letters, then blending and accurate decoding, and lots of targeted practice opportunity using decodable texts, where students can practice the exact skill that they just learned.
So during our training, we referenced two theoretical frameworks about reading acquisition. The first is shown here. This is the simple view of reading. It was developed by psychologists Goff and Tummer, and it shows the relationship between word recognition and language comprehension. If you look at this image, you'll notice that the two multipliers are word recognition and language comprehension. This is a multiplication equation that shows that students need both strong word recognition and strong language comprehension in order to develop strong reading comprehension. And if either of these parts is weak or missing, students are going to have difficulty with reading comprehension. And we want all students to be strong in both of these areas. All of the Getting Reading Right training sessions are centered around Scarborough's reading rope. This rope consists of two elements. There is the language comprehension side in red and the word recognition side in blue, which is similar to the simple view of reading. The red strands deal with infinite language skills, things like vocabulary and background knowledge. These are things that we continue to learn forever. And the blue strand highlights word recognition skills like phonological awareness, decoding, and sight recognition. These skills are finite. We only have 26 letters and 44 sounds in English, so students can learn these skills to mastery. Teachers can ensure that every single student knows these foundational skills. And in our training, we go through each element of the rope and what it means, as well as how to teach it. During this training, we also pay special attention to English learners. We point out ways that they benefit from a structured literacy, science of reading approach. The science of reading advocates really want instruction to be incorporated with both explicit instruction in word recognition and language comprehension. It has a big emphasis on using the sounds of language as a foundation of literacy. And the science of reading values home language skills, and it advocates that educators help students utilize their home language skill sets as an asset as they're building multilingualism. So we've linked a few resources here if you're interested in learning more about how the science of reading specifically supports English learners. One is the article titled How to Teach English Learners Based on the Science of Reading. It's written by Dr. Jana Echevarria. And the other one is our Leading Literacy podcast, where Mara and Leslie had a chance to sit down with English learner advocates and experts, Dr. Claude Goldenberg and Dr. Elsa Cardenas-Hagen. And they are both structured literacy advocates and all around incredible humans. So you can listen to our podcast on Spotify and Apple. The link to the article is also clickable in the PDF of these slides.
Okay, so let's look at the goals of Getting Reading Right. So first and foremost, this is a training to build teacher knowledge about the science of reading. It is not a curriculum, and it is curriculum agnostic, meaning the strategies we discuss can be used with any program. We want teachers to be able to make sound instructional decisions with whatever curriculum that they might have, because as we all know, there is no one perfect curriculum. We also know that many teachers have come out of teacher prep programs unprepared to address the reading deficits facing them in the classroom. Many teachers are given a balanced literacy curriculum to use, which is not balanced or aligned with brain and reading research. This is an equity issue, not only for our students who are not receiving effective instruction, but for educators as well, because who decides which teacher should have access to this information and research? And honestly, teachers don't know what they don't know. We've had countless teachers tell us, I had no idea that all of this existed and that there was something I could actually do to help my struggling readers. And our next goal is to adjust teacher practice. We don't want teachers to just come and listen. We encourage them to use the knowledge they gain and to adjust how they teach reading. We ask them to use universal screeners to collect data, and we show how to use the data to inform reading instruction for small groups and mini lessons. We also focus on what it means to have explicit and systematic instruction, what it looks like, and how to do it. We show examples from curriculum like Wonders and Benchmark Advance to show how to find gaps in the curriculum and fill them. We always tell teachers they need to be smarter than their curriculum, meaning have that knowledge to make really good instructional decisions within it every day. And finally, we give participants evidence-based teaching strategies to address the real concerns of students they have, as well as a host of vetted resources that we have collected. So this is not a research and a pedagogy only training. I mean, it is that, but it's also the how to implement it in the classroom piece also. The Getting Reading Right Teacher Consortium consists of 10 sessions, which are typically 90 minutes long on Zoom. We begin each meeting with a recap of the previous month and then a self-assessment on the new topic, so teachers can see what they know about the topic and what they need to learn. These self-evals are critical. If you don't know what you don't know, there is no reason to want to learn anything new. But if teachers take the self-eval and they're stumped by half of the things on it, it opens up a whole new reason to attend and learn and change. We keep the sessions fresh and engaging by building educator knowledge using a variety of modalities, including built-in time for breakouts for participants so they can reflect and discuss with colleagues. We drill down each month on specific skills from Scarborough's rope, And we tell teachers about the what, why, and how of each skill. We provide lots of resources to use as well to support this new learning. And every session ends with an implementation guide and action steps, which become an avenue to continue learning. So in essence, these include specific directions on how to apply what they have just learned to their instruction. And as a bonus, anyone who attends all 10 sessions, or if they watch the recordings and send us a summary of a missed session, they have an opportunity to earn this snazzy digital badge. We also have a scope and sequence for our K-5 Getting Reading Right training series, and our secondary Filling in the Gaps secondary training as well. The links to each of these is going to be located in the PDF version of these slides. So we've outlined the topic, the objectives for the meeting, and the outcome statements. So each session, it has an actionable outcome, so teachers know exactly what to implement. We also show specific callouts for our English learners, and as well as culturally responsive teaching. This slide has the link for our secondary scope and sequence for filling in the gaps.
The Getting Reading Right trainings are not just us blabbering on. We include lots of opportunities for interaction. We give participants a load of support, like a self-evaluation on each topic. We give amazing vetted resources with ideas of how to implement structured literacy in classrooms. And we end every session with an implementation guide that recaps the main points. It provides additional learning opportunities, and it calls out specific action steps. Plus, participants also get the snazzy Getting Reading Right notebook. So let's talk about the ways educators can join in on this work. The first way is through our summer Getting Reading Right bootcamp. It's coming up this June. We take our 10 sessions and cover all of the material in 5 half days. So from 8:30 to noon each day, we meet and cover the entire Getting Reading Right course. The next option is more like what we've been describing so far today. This option is for any educator throughout the state to join our statewide consortium of Getting Reading Right. We'll be meeting on Monday, once a month for 90 minutes after school on Zoom, beginning in August. And here's our final option. This is to contract with us for a customized cohort of Getting Reading Right, where we meet with just your district and do the course in a customized format. So we use your data and our knowledge about what curriculum you're using, and we build a common language and a skill set amongst all of your teachers. There's a link on this slide for flyers for the K-5 as well as the secondary trainings. So let's talk more about our customized cohort option for a moment. As we said, individual teachers can sign up for our teacher consortium, or districts can contract with us to train all of their K-5 or all of their 6-12 teachers in a customized cohort. We love this model because context matters, and this work can be done within your local context. We can incorporate what you've already been doing in your district and then offer follow-up support to your instructional coaches. We currently have 11 customized cohorts running right now, and it's honestly way more effective than sending random teachers to the consortium. It ensures that everyone on your staff is on the same page. They all speak the same language with how kids learn to read, and every educator knows what to do when students struggle, no matter what grade level they're teaching. So let me explain a little more about what's included with our customized cohort. Districts who contract with us for a customized cohort of Getting Reading Right have the option to have follow-up coaching support with us. Here's just a few of the activities that we do through follow-up coaching. We facilitate articulation with teachers. We discuss how to conduct effective classroom walkthroughs. We provide additional support for monthly drill downs. So in our current customized cohorts, we meet with a district's instructional coaches monthly, and we help them determine what to do to ensure teachers are getting the support as well as the resources that they need related to that month's new skill. And another perk of the customized cohort is that we offer districts our parallel track that we've developed for paraprofessionals or parent volunteers. This is a shorter version of the monthly meeting that we do with teachers, and it can be delivered by your instructional coaches at any time. We don't deliver it, but we provide you with the script and the decks, and it's ready to go for your team to present. We really felt it was important for the paraprofessionals and the volunteers who work alongside the teachers to understand the why and the how of reading instruction as well. So when you contract with us to do a customized cohort of Getting Reading Right, part of that is getting the paraprofessional decks and the notes and all the resources alongside it so that you can train your paras as partners in this work.
Okay, so one last thing we want to mention about the customized cohort is what are the commitments? When you contract with us, we commit to creating and delivering 10 months of training in the science of reading and structured literacy. We will be providing monthly follow-up coaching sessions. We'll give you access to the paraprofessional training. We'll provide access to free resources for implementation. And after we finish the first year of teacher training with you, we commit to offering you the opportunity for a year 2 site level literacy leadership academy, where your leadership team can meet with us monthly to build a literacy plan and work on building, monitoring, and sustaining solid literacy systems in your district. And in turn, here are the commitments we'd expect from you. So we ask that teachers and administrators attend each monthly session, or you can view the recording if you miss it and fill out a summary form. We ask that there be an expectation of cameras on and participation in the chat and discussions. We ask that you provide follow-up support in grade level teams or PLCs. And we ask that participants implement the monthly action items. So it's not just 10 sessions of teachers listening to us yammer on Zoom. We want them to be active and follow up each training with implementation of strategies and resources. And we want participants to commit to asking for help when it's needed. Do not suffer in silence. We are here. So let's talk for a minute about an opportunity for school administrators. It's the California Statewide Administrators Reading Collaborative. So this is a group we started in January of 2021 for LA County administrators because we realized that we needed to also work with administrators in order to spread and support this work by learning more about the science of reading and building, supporting, and sustaining the systems at school sites. There was such a following for that little series that we offered it this year as a full year opportunity, meeting once a month, and it's been pretty popular. So we're offering it again next year. We meet once a month for an hour, and there are 3 goals in mind. Number 1, to build administrators' knowledge in the science of reading. 2, to help set up systems for effective Tier 1 reading instruction. And 3rd, provide tools and strategies to monitor and sustain reading programs. And we've linked the flyer here so you can register if you're interested. And feel free to share it with your admin friends too. It's only $50 to join for the entire year, and we'd love to have you join us. And we want to close out by showing a few resources just available. They're available not just for our Getting Reading Right participants, but really to anyone. We have created a website for all the Getting Reading Right work. We have tons of resources that we've collected. We have articles, we have videos, we have podcasts. And the website link is going to be on this slide as well. So check it out when you have a second. And as Terry mentioned earlier, we have a podcast called Leading Literacy, and our audience has steadily grown over the last few years. And now we are in over 30 countries, and we have a robust set of reading experts that we've interviewed. We get thousands of downloads and really use this as a vehicle to spread the word on the work and to help folks access the information that they need and want. We've talked to some really interesting, heavy-hitting literacy folks, and now we're asking you to listen, and we think you're going to love their stories as well. So check it out. You can find Leading Literacy on Apple and Spotify. Okay, so hopefully we've enticed you all a little bit to learn more about what we discussed. So we've created a list of some incredible resources for you to check out so you can keep building your knowledge. There are articles, videos, and podcasts, lots of great stuff here. And all of these links are clickable in the PDF version of the deck, which you will have. We especially recommend the podcast Sold a Story by Emily Hanford. It's only 6 episodes, and it tells the whole story of how balanced literacy took hold in the United States and why it has been difficult to get the research around the science of reading into our schools. It's an excellent podcast. So we want to leave you with this quote by Mark Seidenberg, who is a leading researcher and professor. There is a profound disconnection between the science of reading and educational practice. Very little of what we've learned about reading as scientists has had any impact on what happens in schools. And we are so excited to potentially partner with all of you and support your district in implementing evidence-based reading practices in your classrooms. So thank you so much for being here with us today. Here's our entire team. Our emails are on here, so please feel free to contact us with any questions. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.